Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So payments this week of right around $1,900 on average are going to be going out one day earlier than usual. We'll be going over who's going to be receiving those payments and plus why they are going to be going out one day earlier than usual. Plus, 89% of Americans in a poll said that they want to make sure that Social Security is going to be staying solvent for a long period of time and that Congress should act immediately on this issue. We'll be going over that as well, in addition to some of the possibilities that we may see as far as changes go. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And if you'd rather just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stock, is just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video, close to 90% of Americans believe that Congress should act immediately on the Social Security solvency issue. That's because, according to numerous reports, anywhere between 2032 up to 2035, Social Security is no longer going to be completely solvent, which basically means there's going to be less money coming into the trust fund and less money in the trust fund to pay everyone out 100% of their usual benefits. So, for example, right now, if you're receiving $2,000 per month, just hypothetically, well, at that point in time, the Social Security Trust Fund is not going to have enough money in it to pay you 100% of your $2,000 monthly benefit. Instead, they're looking at having to cut benefits by anywhere between 17 and all the way up to 26%. So let's say they have to cut benefits across the board for everyone by 20%. In that case, you would have a 20% reduction of your usual $2,000 benefit, so you'd only be receiving 80% of your usual benefit. Obviously, that would be a pretty drastic cut in what you're receiving, because right now the $2,000 probably isn't going too far. You're obviously going to need to supplement that with some other type of retirement account or some other type of income. And, having to receive a 20% cut of your benefits, that's going to hurt a lot of Americans receiving benefits. And that's why it's not that surprising that 90% of Americans believe that Congress needs to act now rather than continuing to kick the can down the road and then, come up with some type of band-aid solution or risk having a pretty big cut to their benefits. So according to the CNBC article here, it says most Americans, at 89%, think that Congress should act immediately to make sure that full benefits are available to both current and future beneficiaries. A 2023 AARP poll found, and 90% said that Republicans and Democrats should work together to find a solution. And really, that's the only way they are going to come up with a solution, because right now we can have plans that are only supported by Republicans, but the problem with that is obviously you're not going to have any Democrats vote in approval of the bill. So they're doomed to fail once it reaches the Senate, where there's not going to be enough Republicans. They need to have at least 60 votes in the Senate for a bill to pass. And unless Republicans reach up to 60 seats in the Senate, which is, I don't even know the last time that's happened, or Democrats reach 60 seats in the Senate, there's no way that a bill supported by only Republicans or a bill only supported by Democrats is going to pass through both chambers, to the House and the Senate, before reaching the president's desk to be signed into law. And then you have to hope that your party has the person in the White House, whether it's Biden or Trump, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, to not veto the bill once it reaches the president's desk. Now, the article goes on to say that Peters is pushing for the Fiscal Commission Act alongside Representative Bill Huizenga. He's a representative in Michigan, and Senator Joe Manchin. as well as Mitt Romney. The bill would create a commission to provide a policy recommendations to address the federal government's long-term fiscal issues, and those proposals could get expedited consideration from Congress. The commission would also be responsible for a public awareness campaign to educate Americans about the country's current fiscal situation. And another Democratic leader, though, and Representative John Larson of Connecticut, he has vehemently opposed the proposal due to the closed-door nature of the negotiations and the priority consideration ensuing recommendations would receive. He said it's probably one of the most undemocratic things that Congress has ever put forward, and instead Larson is championing his own bill, the Social Security 2100 Act, to improve the program's solvency and expand benefits through tax increases targeted at the wealthy. So basically, Larson is saying that we should not be having these closed-door meetings that Americans don't know about, that the rest of Congress doesn't know about, even though it would be a bipartisan closed-door meeting where we would have Republicans and Democrats coming up with different ideas. He's saying this is a terrible idea, and instead they should be going with his bill that right now only has support from Democrats. So his bill pretty much has no chance of passing because Republicans are not in favor of it. But something, I guess, a bipartisan commission, obviously you would have both Republicans and Democrats supporting it. So you can kind of make up your own idea of which idea might be a little bit better of a solution. The article also goes on to say that the last major Social Security reform, which were enacted back in 1983, were preceded by a commission. The National Commission on Social Security Reform, formed in 1981, is often called the Greenspan Commission, after its chairman, economist Alan Greenspan, who more famously served as chairman of the Federal Reserve. And the bipartisan commission included 15 members chosen either by the White House, the Senate Majority Leader, or the Speaker of the House. Every commissioner was an all-star in his or her field, according to Greenspan. And the Social Security amendments that President Ronald Reagan signed into law in 1983, quote, involved paying for everyone. The changes involved taxes on Social Security benefits, increases to payroll tax rates, a future increase to the retirement age, and a near postponement of cost of living adjustments. At the time, the changes were projected to enable Social Security to pay full benefits through 2057. And of course, today the projected date is 2035, so 22 years earlier, with rising income inequality contributing to the depletion dates being pushed up. According to the Economic Policy Institute and other experts, Social Security payroll taxes are capped at $168,600 in earnings as wage growth for high earners outpaces average wage growth. More income falls above the threshold where it is not subject to the Social Security payroll tax, the EPI says. So basically, back in the 80s, once again, they had a similar issue where there was a potential solvency issue where there was going to be large cuts across the board, just like we are facing today, or at least within like the next 10 years or so. And to fix that issue, for the first time ever, people had to start paying taxes on the benefits that they were receiving for Social Security. And that's why many Americans today are now having to pay taxes on these Social Security benefits that they're paying, even though they had to pay taxes into, even though it's basically their money, because they had to pay taxes while they were working, the money that went into the trust fund for people then to receive benefits. And now that they're finally receiving benefits, the money that they paid into the trust fund, they're now having to pay taxes once again. So they're basically facing a double taxation on their benefits. Of course, we had the payroll tax rate go up as well. And that's one of the things that they're also considering today, is to raise the amount of payroll tax or push back the full retirement age, much like they did back in the 1980s. So leave your thoughts and comments below. Do you believe that they should set up this bipartisan commission to keep Social Security solvent? Or do you believe that they should not be having these closed-door meetings? Leave your thoughts in comments below. But moving into our next story, today's video, of course, this week, there are going to be more payments for Social Security beneficiaries going out. Once again, these payments on average are going to be right around $1,900. Now, usually these payments go out on Wednesdays, but this week they're actually going to be going out one day earlier on Tuesday. We're going to be covering why with this article from Newsweek. So they say that Social Security payments to go out earlier than usual. So some Social Security recipients due to be paid this week will get their monthly money a day earlier than usual. Social Security payments made to retired Americans, those with a disability, and survivors of former claimants are paid on a monthly basis by the Social Security Administration. As of the end of 2023, some 67 million Americans were receiving benefits from the government agency. Changes are made to the Social Security schedule when the usual payment date either falls on a weekend or a national holiday. This week, recipients who were due to be paid on Wednesday will instead be paid a day before, on Tuesday, due to the Juneteenth national holiday, which takes place on June 19th. And you can see the payment schedule up there on the screen. Once again, tomorrow on June 18th, those payments are going to be going to those with birthdays falling between the 11th and 20th of any given month. And then the final payments are going to be going out next week on next Wednesday. It's going to be June 26th. Those payments are going to be going to those with birthdays falling between the 21st and 31st of any given month. And that will wrap up the June payment schedule. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.